Hello there everyone, welcome back to another video about a children's trading card game. We are continuing the set review series for the set 2 block of support for Gate Ruler, and this video, as you can tell from the title, is Yomajin Front. Lots of very cool stuff here, so let's go ahead and get started with the starter deck stuff, which is actually not too much, but one decent card. So let's get started. So first here we've got Kamitachijo in New York. It's a 5/2/1, so whatever stats, but the effect just pops a unit in the defensive zone. That's quite nice. A lot of the defensive zone popping in this game is kind of counter-focused, so getting away outside of that to just go ahead and pop is quite nice. It is, of course, drive only, which does suck a bit, but certainly a very powerful card, definitely worth considering, though I will say that we're seeing a sort of more defensive stuff, like in interaction, rather than just slamming something in defensive zone with the amount of removal there is for defensive zone stuff. So this is probably a card that isn't going to be super relevant at the moment, but it has strong future potential. And the only other Yomajin support in the starter deck is this 4/3/1 that gives all your other military +1 attack. Don't get me wrong, that's quite good, but it's a level 1, and it's nowhere near as good as the level 0 that buffs HP, because that guy is kind of silly. Yeah, not a massive fan of this card. I don't think it's particularly good. Yeah, is what it is. And that's it for the starter deck stuff. Let's move on to the main set, starting off with the legend. Heaven's Vengeance comes swiftly. What a name. RNG, you've outdone yourself. Classic name. A counter is to choose an enemy unit and destroy it. It's a good counter. And the main effect is set it, and you may play it while you're being attacked by an enemy unit, and the battle damage becomes 0 and you destroy the attacking unit. So it's a null, reduced to 0, and a pop. Very powerful card. The biggest detriment of this card is the fact that it's a legend. So you know, it's competing with Captain OMG, it's competing with Kinomiya Koga, and then whatever the hell else you're playing. You know, if you're playing blue, this is competing with Captain Liberty. This is competing with Win-Win. So a lot of stuff it's competing with. Tomegatherian's kind of whatever. But yeah, very powerful card. Biggest downside, of course, being it's competing for a limited amount of space. Next is our first 4-star, and this is Type 10 Super Soldier Tenrai. This is a great card. Seen some very nice success in Wizard, actually, and of course in Robos. It's a 6/6/2 defender with Retaliate. It's just very good keywords. If you can keep this thing around, it is a nightmare. And keeping this thing around is not too difficult with your ways to buff HP or reduce damage to 0 and all sorts of things. So yeah, very powerful card, relatively niche utility, but when you can use it, it is good. Next, we have got Dragon-type battle weapon, Narui Kazuchi. This card is great. Dragon, military, you can Genesis summon this thing. When it attacks, you can pop a level 1 or lower enemy unit, and you can interact on your opponent's turn to pop level 0s. Plus, it's 5 HP. There are a myriad ways to keep this thing alive on your opponent's turn and just make them hate themselves. This card's great. I love this card. Love it in Genesis summoning. Big fan. I'm less of a big fan of this next card, which is Nue. This is a 5/4/2. It's 4 standby. When you're dealt damage, you can normal summon it, but you know, it's pretty dead in energy-based decks because paying 2, and you know, it's good in drive decks, I will say. Just to make something can be quite nice. Give yourself a defensive thing. It's got Retaliate, which is obviously good, but it's 4 HP, so I don't know how often that Retaliate is going to trigger without other means. You know, 6 HP and 4 HP are very different. Yeah, I don't think it's particularly good, but I do think there is potential. It is a apparition. We will see apparition be a thing eventually. Next, we have got United Sacred Treasure God Dijinki. This is the big old combination robo. Look, you already know if you're a fan of this or not, and if you are, you don't care what I say. You're not going to care that I point out that the deck is kind of janky and it's a bit luck based and blah 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 blah. It's a fucking combination robo. You're going to play it, and I respect that. Next, we've got Oni Dragon Magatsuhi. This card is amazing. I don't think I sold it hard enough on that initial review. Genesis summoning monster, wizard monster, popping sets or resting energy. It's always good. It's 6/6. It's got good stats. It's play this card. Card's great. Next we've got Xingtian, Qingtan. I have no idea. It's like, I think it's Chinese or something. I don't know. The overdrive here just basically goes, you can't kill me except through burn, and with only 3 HP and the amount of burn that there is in the format, which is a reasonable amount, yeah, this thing is probably not going to matter a great deal. And, you know, as nice as it is, it's not exactly, you know, earth-shattering if you leave it up. So I don't think it's that good. Yeah, I just don't think it's that good. Next we've got Karakaki. This is significantly worse than Alice, which makes sense because having that 4 HP and instantly cucking every knight deck ever is pretty powerful. But it's significantly worse because you have to set it, and that means that you are vulnerable to the tremendous amount of set removal that there is in the format now. There is a lot more. You know, Demolition Salamander, Break Through the Enemy, Magatsuhi that we just spoke about. There's a lot. The next card as well. There's a lot of cards that remove sets. So this is more vulnerable. As a result, it's of course much better in terms of stats. I think it's pretty good. I just don't think it's anywhere near as good as Alice is. It's still good. It's still good. Alice is like one of the best cards in the game. So yeah, it's hardly a thing you would be that upset about losing the comparison. Next, we've got Innocent Heart. So the counter here rests your opponent's whole board. That's a pretty good counter. And the main effect is choose all of your opponent's set zones or your opponent's field zone and destroy all cards in the chosen zone. Hey man, I'm playing this in Apprentice. This card is really good. Actually being able to play this in energy-based decks is a lot tougher, but in Apprentice decks this is a very easy inclusion. Even in energy-based decks at like 2 or something, this is a pretty easy inclusion, especially if you're playing like a wizard deck that's using, the name escapes me, the one that removes sets to burn 4 to something. This is quite good in that because then you don't give a shit if you draw it. Yeah, solid card. Next, we have got janudo. I have no idea how to really pronounce that. It's a military, it's 4/3/2, and the counter rests on, and it buffs all your units' attack when it's on the board. It's just a very, very solid card. Sorry, rest enemy ruler on the counter. It's a very, very solid card. I recommend you give it a go. I've seen it sees lots of play, and deservedly. It's a very solid card. Next, we've got Crow, the bird tengu. Worth saying, the high rarity pack version of this card has an alternate artwork, which is quite cool. The counter uses the overdrive, and the overdrive is choose another unit and send all the charges to the graveyard. That's a really nice ability. Unfortunately, charges are nowhere near widespread enough to make that viable in a driving deck. Whenever we get a drive deck with a hand, this will be way better because you can just run it at 2 copies or something, hold it in your hand until your opponent goes, Gashadokuro, and you go, Crow, and that will feel pretty good. Next, we've got kiorin. This is standby, and when it would leave the field, you can set it instead, and you can it can't be put in the defensive zone, but you can just basically keep on summoning this again and again and again and again. This is a really nice apprentice card, basically. It's a nice knight card too, just 1 energy, and you're always going to be able to go, boop, that's a 3 attack unit, again and again and again and again and again. It's a beast, so it can be a 4/2, which is pretty nice too. Yeah, this is a solid card. Nothing spectacular, but solid. The 3 Godmothers, on the other hand, I'm not entirely sure why why Apprentice needed this. Certainly why Red-Pink Apprentice needed this. Every time you see this as a special summon player, it will probably put you on suicide watch because it just shuts down like your whole deck. Now, granted, a lot of decks aren't playing it because it's a counter, thank God. If it wasn't, what the hell? Yeah, the fact that this takes up counter space is a major thing, but it does 3 different really good things in drive decks, and still 2 very good things in non-drive decks. You know, popping sets, obviously amazing, resting energy, amazing, and turning off special summoning. These are all quite good things. So yeah, this card is very strong. Next, we've got Wetland Mermaid, Shizuku Hime. This is an anti-darkness card, but again, there's no consistency on when you see this. To what extent does your opponent care? How much darkness is there really in the format? You know, if we got a sideboard, then this would probably be in the sideboard at 4, and I think Apprentice would be having a very good time, Red Pink Apprentice, but yeah, we don't have a sideboard at the moment, so yeah, well, we might. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, just an amazing card against certain matchups, but just super dead in others. Next, we've got Daijins. The counter is to play this, and you pop a unit in the defensive zone or a unit with defender at level 1. This is just very good. You know, there's lots of units with defender that might remain on the side. You know, level 1, just getting destruction is really nice. Of course, it is a counter, so that's the trade-off. But I think this is like a reasonable card to play at like 2 copies, for example. I think that would be very reasonable. This card is very solid. Next, we've got Yamato no Orochi. This is the year 061. It was an initial promo printing, and once per turn you can burn 2 to an enemy unit. I don't think this card is particularly good. Then we've got Spirit of Old Trees. This is a 4/5/2 that buffs all your other apparition by +1/+1. It's a good effect. I think justifying the space for this is quite difficult, but I do expect to see some kind of apparition that can like get units from deck into its charge, and then it just like gets all the abilities of them, because then that could be interesting. That could be interesting. That's my prediction. Next, we've got the Dijinki package. The first part here, which looks at top 4 and gets the other bits. Yep, this is solid. 5 attack, 2 strike, which is all good, all gravy. The second part here, this is the counter that will revive something from your graveyard or special summon one from your deck. Worse stats, it is a level 2, but again, a very, very important part of the strategy. Next, we have got Spirit of Autumn Leaves. This is a VTuber. Cool, must be nice. The overdrive to just buff its attack up by 3 until the end of the turn, making it a 6/3/2. This card is really good. Like, this card is really, really good. I would recommend giving this a go. Next is Dimensional Crushing Unit Jakko. This is a 3/3/2, but when it attacks a defensive zone unit, it gets +3 attack. If this was a 4/3/2, this would be amazing because it would hard counter Flying Spaghetti Monster. At the moment, it's just a little bit short, and then you might turn around and go, oh, why don't you just play the +1 attack military? Because I'm not going to play bad cards just to make a decent card counter one good card that it's not always going to go up against. No, I'm not going to do it. Next is Sacred Treasure number 2, Mikagami. This is the final piece. The overdrive here special summons a level 2 Sacred Treasure from your graveyard, and it pops itself at the end of the main phase. This is also a defender, and it's got 4 HP. So yeah, what I have seen, actually, my friends do, is they play the Sacred Treasure package just as a robo engine, and don't even bother with Daijinki because they get a lot of value from the robos, and they can just emergency recombination them into like a Gashadokuro, or a Tenrai, or a Galak, or a Mesa. So yeah, it's a very solid engine. Next, we've got a Marby. The counter uses the overdrive. The overdrive, top check, if it's a level 1 or lower apparition, you can drive it. If you do not drive it, put it on the bottom of your deck. This is a powerful ability, but there is nowhere near enough support for it to be viable yet. It's also a beast, so that's nice. Next, we've got Super Transporter Danny. This card is goated, ridiculous, stupid, insane, amazing. One of the best cards in the set. Next, we've got Baisho Itan Momen. So this is a 1/4/1 with standby. It's okay. It's a level 0, so you know it is free. It's a free thing you can just make, and it's just like a nice. The argument for this is it's a consistency thing for your top checking to set. It's also an apparition. So I get the purpose of it, and it's obviously great in the apparition deck, but and then you're playing the apparition deck. Next, we have got Dijinky Project. Yeah, staple in Dijinky, a reasonable option potentially in Robo, though justifying the space for it is kind of tough. Next, we've got Shinjuku Ticket Gate. This is a great card. Counter activates one of your energy, and it's a draw 2. You just see this in all sorts of knight decks, essentially, and wizard decks. Just a great card. Advantage gaining. Red is very valuable. Yeah, solid card. Next, we have got Capital Defense. The effect on the counter is look at the top card of your deck and you can set it. If it can be set, it's immediate and you can choose all your cards in your set zone and your field zone cannot be destroyed until the end of the turn. So this is a card that you very much play like in a set heavy deck, and you play this fully expecting your opponent to have a huge amount of set removal. It's a very sideboardy card in my opinion, but it's a very, very strong one. Next, we've got Journey to Hell. When your unit in attacking zone is destroyed by battle damage, you can destroy the unit that attacked it. This is a powerful ability, but there is a lot of set destruction running around, and you know that card's already attacked and kind of got the value. So yeah, I don't know how much you would necessarily care as the opponent if it got removed. You're like, oh, okay, sure, fine. Yeah, it's one key is because so like burn damage from Victor, for example, counts as combat damage. If they swing with Victor, remove an attacking zone unit, and they're attacking something else with Victor, then you can use your Journey to Hell to remove the Victor, and the attack doesn't finish. That's cool, but yeah, by and large, nothing spectacular. Marriage Tie, I'm a big fan of this card. Counterplays it, and you just get to look at the top 3 and stack them however you want. I think this is a solid card in a couple copies. Nothing amazing, but you know, I like it in like Highlander and Legion and stuff. It's a good card. I like it. What can I say? I like it. All right, I'm allowed to like things. Next, we have got Evil Spirit Defeated. This is just reduce any damage to 0, and it's a counter which makes it a level 0. This is kind of ridiculous, and you will just see this at 3 to 4 basically everywhere. It's a great card. And finally, God Dragon Activation. If you've got a Dragon-type battle weapon, when it attacks and becomes rested, you can just flip this and reactivate it and just keep on going for days. Obviously very restrictive in the use case for it at the moment, not super amazing, but we know there's like, I think 7 or something Dragon-type battle weapons in the lore, so we're gonna get like a load more of them, so yeah, this will eventually be really, really good. And there we go. As you can see, that was a very rapid review, but you know, I don't want to waste your time. I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, please like the video. If you want to pick up Gate Ruler, use my affiliate link in the description to help support the channel. You can also support the channel by hitting the subscribe button and liking the video, as I just said. Leave a comment on your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let me know what you're most excited for from set 2, and I will see you guys in the next video.